The secret to your power, visualization. Hey there, this is your personal reset button. I'm Dr. Jane, joined by the wonderful Coach Kendra.
Thank you so much for having me here today. And hey, listen, we're going to talk about I want to tell you a little story about visualization. And it is my power. It's my superpower, and I'll tell you why. Here's an example of how I've used it recently. Went into the grocery store doing my shopping, and I try to eat healthy, so I'm trying to pick out some healthy things. And I see this beautiful cake in front of me that I really would love to purchase and eat. And so what I do while
I'm such a sucker for baked goods. I'm such a sucker for baked.
It's awful.
I just,
and I know if I take that home, I'm going to eat the whole thing.
I'm going to eat all of it. Like I mean, I have even, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I'm like admitting this, but I've already started down the trail of thought. So I guess I've even like had a fork just sitting next to the cake, the pastry box, and been like, oh, it's just one bite. Well, I've one bited myself into 5 pounds and whatever, over 3 days. Shame.
Yeah, it's horrible. So what I try to do is actually, while I'm in the grocery store, I can visualize myself having a piece of cake and eating it and loving it, and it's tasting really yummy. And then I'll have another piece of cake and then another, because I usually can't stop. And then I visualize how I'm going to feel once I've overeaten that cake, and how lousy my stomach feels, and how groggy I feel and tired because I ate too much of it. And it literally stops me from buying it. That visualization of the whole process through will literally, I'm able to walk away from that cake and not even, and feel like I've actually eaten it.
So what you're
really
doing
strong.
you're actually taking your visualization a step further, because visualization really is just seeing the reality. You're taking it into a kinesthetic area because you're identifying actually with the feelings. And so when you use the psychological visualization methodology and you add kinesiology to it, that's when you can connect with the consciousness of a situation. So if you've ever heard people, say, oh, I can't talk about that because I just don't want to go back there and relive that in my mind, or, I'm imagining what this is going to feel like. That, what you just described, is the key to using visualization, combined law of attraction, consciousness, manifestation.
Absolutely.
It's adding that kinesiologic element to it.
Yep, absolutely. And we know, just because you and I have vision boards and we've manifested a lot of wonderful things in our life, that the visualization part, along with the feeling and the believing part, is how we manifest. So it's all wrapped up in one.
Absolutely.
And
it's how I make decisions. When somebody asks me if I'm going to do something, recently I was given a really incredible opportunity to be part of a team for, a term project. And initially, I'm always the say yes and figure it out person, because I don't let fear rule my decisions. But I took some time, something didn't feel right. And I took some time to visualize what that was going to be like. And it helped me to make the educated decision that this wasn't the right direction for me to go. So it helped to empower my no.
Now, for those of you who may not be able to visualize, it does take some practice, but it's like anything that you do in your life. If you do it on a regular basis and you practice, then it becomes so easy to do. And it can help you in literally every area of your life. We were talking about the fact that sports people, people that are, high attaining sports people, use visualization to win whatever it is, whatever sport that they're in. So it's super interesting to learn about, and to also start practicing in your own lives.
Absolutely. Michael Jordan he would visualize the entire game and visualize every shot he was going to take. And he's actually said that was one of his keys to success. He also, I just heard a story. My husband loves basketball and watches a lot of sports documentaries. And I recently heard a story about Michael Jordan that they were in the playoffs with another team, and I don't remember all the details, but he visualized something that didn't actually happen after his team had won a game, because he wanted to make sure that if they won the next game in the series, they would win the series. And he imagined a player from another team walking up to him, saying something to him kind of smarmy about the final shot that he had made that won the game. And he used that visualization and the anger that it brought up inside of him to fuel his performance in the next game.
Ah,
And
interesting.
years and years later, because that other team, he actually told a reporter that this thing happened, and it like was a big uproar, and his teammates were pissed, and the other guy denied it. And then like 10 years later, somebody asked him a follow-up question. He said, no, I just visualized that to help me in the
Huh.
future game. And
Wow.
I mean, I don't know if I'd go so far as to tell a fictitious visualization to a news reporter, but like it worked. It got the whole team like totally razzed up. But you can use it in
Yeah.
communication. You can use it to help push you and others toward a purpose. You know, you just said that it's difficult to learn how to do. Yeah. So why
Well,
don't we lead
yes.
everybody? Why don't we just lead them in a visualization exercise real quick?
Oh,
And
that sounds fantastic.
yeah.
Sounds like fun. Yeah, I'm ready.
So everybody who's watching, I want you to just close your eyes softly and enjoy a deep belly breath for a moment, like you're in a yoga class, and let it out. I want you to visualize a person who's difficult for you to communicate with. Anybody who you kind of butt heads with in communication, or sometimes rubs you the wrong way, or no matter what you do, you rub them the wrong way. And it's just a difficult communication relationship with that person. So having that person in mind, I want you to pick out the attributes of that person when they're communicating. Do they interrupt you a lot? Are they quick to respond? Do they have a negative tone? What about their facial expression? How do they hold their body? What do these things remind you of? Who do these things remind you of? Can you attach them to a character in a movie? Can you attach them to a certain time of life? Can you attach them to a cartoon character? So who do all of those attributes together remind you of? Now, I want you to visualize that person changed in physical appearance to have all of the attributes of that character. Now, in your mind, have a conversation with that character. And pay attention to the way that you feel. Pay attention to the way that it feels to talk to that character instead of the person who causes this frustration in your life. It's not as frustrating, is it? It's not as, it doesn't make you feel as though you're banging heads as much. Okay, you guys open your eyes. Now, the next time that you deal with that person, instead of dealing with that person, I want you to bring this visualization up. And I'll tell you a quick story. You know, I was an executive news producer for years, and news personalities, those of us who have the guts to come on air and be news reporters in front of the camera, or anyone in that realm, we're kind of known for having egos. And so, you're working with a lot of big personalities here, and there are some personalities who are on, national news programs that I've produced reported with throughout my career. So not going to out anybody, but there's one person who is just, not anymore, he's softened, but 20 years ago, he was impossible and rude and mean and abrasive. And so I used this technique with him. I didn't assign him to a cartoon character, but I did assign him to a time of life. I visualized this grown man who treated everybody like crap as a little 3-year-old in a John jumpsuit, the shorts with
Yeah.
the suspenders, like kind of later, with a skull cap and a spinner on top, holding, it goes farther, saddle Oxford shoes, holding a rainbow swirly lollipop that he had just picked up out of a mud puddle, and was screaming because he was so upset that he had just dropped his lollipop in a mud puddle. So every single time that this angry, abrasive man would come up to me and be like, rah, 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 all that I saw was a little hurt boy in lederhosen with the Dennis the Menace spinny cap, on the top of his head.
His lollipop.
A muddy lollipop. So my it's all about your response. My response to him wasn't reactive like the other producers who would be like, go away, you're a jerk, you know, whatever. My response to him was softer. I would pull out of him. I'd get down to the why. And because my response to him was softer, because I was dealing with this poor little 3-year-old who just wanted a clean lollipop.
Right.
And so my communication with him, it always brought him down to a place where we could talk, what really is
Yeah.
the issue with this thing that you don't like? So you can use that. And I've worked with other clients who have said, oh, this guy in my office is like Yosemite Sam. Rah, 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 rah. And every time they now interact with Yosemite Sam, and I don't even know this person's name because we call him Yosemite Sam.
It's amazing.
Every time they interact with Yosemite Sam, they're amused because it's Root and Toot and Yosemite Sam and Bugs Bunny.
That is so amazing. I'm gonna use that actually. That
Use
is
it.
really, yeah, and it's just and that's why we say that is, for me, visualization is my superpower, because you can use it in so many circumstances in your life.
You can.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Dr. Jane.
Yeah. Well, if this
So
has been of
useful.
any use to you, will you guys please give us a thumbs up so we know? That's all. What it does is it lets us know that you like this, so that we'll
Yeah.
keep bringing you information that's useful for you. Hit the subscribe button and that little bell so you'll know the next time that we drop a video to help you live a life with more success and lower stress.
Absolutely. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.